The development of spinal column stress really took place in many different parts. The first part was my dad came out of college, and his purpose was to objectively document and substantiate his chiropractic care. He knew a man who was an aerospace engineer, and he said, well, you need to develop key angles and landmarks on the spine that you can measure on a comparative basis. After that, my dad was given a book called The Stress of Life by Hans Selye. Stress could be measured, then we could begin to understand every disease known to mankind. Selye was really looking at the endocrine system, and he was studying hormonal responses. Selye came up with a model called the general adaptation syndrome. And that is, the first stage is an alarm reaction, the second stage is a resistance reaction, and the third stage is a breakdown reaction. So my dad thought, well, if Selye's measuring this through the hormonal system, then maybe he could measure this through the spinal system. So at first he started by taking full spine x-rays from the front and side view in the standing positions. He then took these key angles and landmarks, and he measured them. Then he would do his treatment, and on a comparative basis he would go back and measure the same angles and try to see if there was a change, an objective change within the spinal structure. So that's the second part of the evolution. The third part of the evolution is when my dad was given the book Adverse Mechanical Tension in the Central Nervous System. That book is written by a Swedish neurosurgeon, and his name is Alf Brage. Alf Brage really studied the dynamic of the meningeal system. And the meningeal system is the plastic-like covering of the brain, brainstem, and spinal cord. My dad thought right away, well, that's what ties the spine into an intact unit. So that's why my dad said one of the most important systems ever to study is the spinal column pelvic meningeal unit. So that means our cranium, our spinal column, our pelvis, and then the meninges covers the brain, brainstem, and spinal cord and covers every nerve at its exit point. So that was the beginning evolution of the spinal column stress model, taking the aerospace engineer's measurements, Hans Selye's theory of stress, and then Alf Brage's microscopic research of the brain, brainstem, and spinal cord.